You are listening to, perhaps watching, Call of the Audible. I'm your host, Peeze, Reeze, who choked on the word for no apparent reason. I'm joined by my co-host, Simone Dagenais, and our producer, of course, the Eagle at Master Control. Welcome, everyone, to Week 2. Gentlemen, that was a fun Week 1 action. Just not your garbage Eagles. Last Thursday, I think we should have done a 4-hour show. It would have been more visually entertaining than the garbage the Eagles and Falcons give us to watch.
Can we talk now?
Yeah.
I was told never to talk during the introduction, and I feel like you're still...
But I stopped.
Yes, but then...
Your timing is terrible. So like, at the end of a date, do you like look at a girl like, can I kiss you now? 'Cause that's kind of what you did to me. And I gotta say, like, I may have been turned on by you before, but
Not
like
anymore.
now I'm not inviting you in for a drink. Like,
Oh.
goodbye.
What if he brings the drinks?
And like, and that lip gloss I left in your, the lip gloss I left in your seat on purpose. I'm never gonna ask for it.
I just take out 2 glasses. How about now?
There's roofies in there for sure. I'm not trusting that. Keep your children, keep your not children, but keep your girls away from Simon Dagenais because of roofies.
Or children.
Hopefully.
It's been said that if you suit up and be awesome, you score chicks.
That's
Not
true.
necessarily in that
What
order.
That's true.
And well, hopefully not ever.
What?
What'd you see this week?
FPF related or not? Because we started with the shit Eagles.
Yeah.
They still won somehow, beat Justin's Falcons.
Because the Eagles were shittier.
Yes. A lot of games this week. I'll start with one that impressed me the most is Khanspiracy losing to essentially
The
Monstars. Essentially Monstars.
This time, yes.
Yes.
This time, yes.
So, are they in a is Keyport lock stars? Are they in a situation where they're in the hole too deep for Jeff Rosenblatt to climb back out of?
First of all, Jeff Rosenblatt once told me he's never seen a hole too deep.
Nice.
Make of that what you will. But more importantly, no, because if they end up in the wrong tier, they can start Rod mashed up.
But what are they gonna do with Jeff though?
He can snap.
Then what is Jad gonna do?
Play slot. Replace Ryan since he has no hands. Replace Ryan Reedy.
Hey, well,
With Jad Reedy.
shots fired so early.
No, but look, we all know.
It's been a minute into the show.
Ryan's
got no hands.
He's the better rusher of the two.
And a great photographer.
Great photographer.
It's so no. You start off with he's got no hands, and this is where it all ends.
I mean, surprising he can take the pictures with no hands, but he gets it done. All wrists, all wrists. I kid, of course, but no, but like if you had to, I'm saying if you end up in that situation,
But is that what
do you start Jeff Rosenblatt at quarterback?
But is that what they want to do though? Like,
I don't know. We're hypothesizing.
of course, because we're not journalists, we don't actually ask questions.
I mean, actually, I was talking to Ryan Reedy after his game today. I was like, "Hey, huge win, man!" And then he was talking about it. But it never occurred to me to ask, "Hey, what would you do in this scenario?" Because I only thought of it this morning.
You were looking at it like he's got no hands.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
I was just so
It's so weird.
perturbed by it.
Yeah. Well, with 2 wins now, and they've beat Banditos and Khanspiracy.
Well, so the other thing is though, they beat Conspiracy when there were only 6 guys. Dan Lazara had to rush. If Dan Lazara is rushing Rob Ashtub, and Dan Lazara is a better athlete than people give him credit for. He's a very good defender as well, but he's not going to be able to rush Rob Ashtub.
He's a good athlete outside of the quarterback position in the lower divisions. When he starts moving up in like Div 1, Div 2, he's sort of.
I'm
falls
saying
through
he's
cracks.
quicker than he
Yes.
appears because he doesn't really move in the pocket, but that's kind of by choice.
But he also doesn't have that rusher mentality experience that helps him, right? Like he makes rookie rusher mistakes.
and again against one of or the most elusive quarterback at this point.
Yeah, one of the toughest guys to rush. It's a
and his ability to throw on the run without planting a foot,
but
like just jump throw.
but he didn't have a choice though. Like if,
Yeah.
if you're 6 and let's say you rush Quasi instead, then Dan's playing defense and they're gonna pick on him.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember, the score difference was only 1 point in this game, right? So, and Lazara leads the offense. So if he's not scoring extra TDs, because that doesn't change anything, or do you think with other guys on his team he would have put up more points and then potentially prevented an extra score?
I think what happens is, in a game like that, you don't want to leave the game to converts because you're only 6 players. You probably don't have all your best options, and as such, you need to play a game where you get a stop, and you're not going to get stops without your full defense against Rob Master.
Or you
with
force,
against like you said against monsters.
you force them in a tough situation where you intentionally go for 2-point converts early in the game and try to get them while you're still fresh, while you still got time. And if you're able to get a lot of points early, let's say you're up 16-6, there's a lot of pressure on the other team, and that's when you can get.
But that wasn't the nature of this game either. It was,
of course not.
It was back and forth the entire
considering
way.
they've only got one convert. Right?
Jadoridi had a huge impact on this game at the height of competition. When I first met Jad, he was a Division 5 player, very solid player. Has his development surprised you?
I think Jad understands what he's able to do. He doesn't dream of the fact that he's the best player in FPF, and I don't think he ever wants to. Like, he doesn't envision himself as the best player in FPF, which means that he understands what he can do very well, and where to limit himself.
Yeah.
Right. Sort of like when you play defense, you know you can't cover 40 yards.
Yeah.
So don't try.
I hold instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jad understands that that's not what he should be doing, and the team around him understands that as well, and they use him really well for what he does well.
You posed a question about things that should or should not be done. You wanted to talk about sharing toothbrushes. To be clear, it's not Simone and I sharing a toothbrush.
That would be worse.
I would never do that.
Well, would it be worse?
Yes.
Would it be worse than you and
So-
Natalia, for instance?
Well, yes, between my fiance and I sharing a toothbrush and you,
But then that
and I
means it's like, you
we
know,
already kiss. We already share saliva, amongst other things.
fair. But then she eats other things as well.
Yeah,
All
usually
right.
that I've cooked. So, it's not ideal. I will say. So, like,
Even
I'm-
on vacation,
I'm not afraid to be self-deprecating. So I will say that color blindness has caused issues for me in my life. and like if she has a pink toothbrush and I have like a faded purpley blue whatever color that is toothbrush, it's happened where I confuse a toothbrush for 2 weeks.
because different models doesn't
Yeah,
count.
yeah. Well, no, they're the same. They're the cheap one that I buy. So it has happened. It's also forced me to get a different kind of toothbrush and spend some more money. Gonna get me an Oral-B. I've ordered it, waited for it in the mail. I went
The
out
electric ones?
one. Yeah.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of you screaming at me about this goddamn toothbrush. I don't do it on purpose. Amazon, you're my friend. You all know what that's like.
What
right?
you can actually do with that, though, and you're going to get pissed about this, is that you can buy the different brush heads. So you can have yours and she can have hers, but use the
No.
same electric one.
Don't say that on air because she watches the show.
Why?
Yeah, but
It
hers
needs
can
to
be
be
pink
better.
and yours can be any other
The
color.
color's the problem. What about you, Eagle? Is this a thing for you?
I would only share a toothbrush in emergency situations where it's like, and not even like, oh shit, I forgot it at home and we're on a camping trip and can I borrow yours? Like, no, it's like my teeth are rotting or I've just eaten like a kilogram of sugar and I need to do something. Please.
So
you know?
in the worst, so when your mouth is in the worst condition is when you would borrow the toothbrush of the one you love.
That's when you most need it.
But what? Like, does she just give it to you and then she doesn't have one anymore?
Does she leave you?
I would get another one. Like basically, I'm like, this is
You
mine
will need
now.
to get a new woman because she will leave you for your disgusting
She
mouth.
also works in
That's a
dentistry.
good
so
point.
that
actually.
helps.
That's the only reason she's with you. But it's gross.
It's
Other
disgusting.
things that are gross, of course, are ties. Los Banditos tied Warriors.
Oh wow,
25
I was
all.
really thinking of like cravat. I was like, really?
Were the Warriors really an exciting new team, or were they just a big fish in a small pond?
Sorry, Warriors?
Yeah. When they first started in FPF with Michael Soleimani at quarterback.
Okay, those Warriors.
With Peter Giannis and
Yes.
his antics and solid defensive play as well. But like, were they just too good for the division they're playing in, or is this a team that is a really good team who just takes a little while to get started?
I think that when they first started off their first few seasons, they really found what really worked well for them. They were in a division that was a little bit weaker than what they,
So was
they
the-
could have been, but
was the thing that they did well beat worse teams?
but they did lose a few players that made their team special back then. They had
okay.
a few players back then, like Angelo Murelatos, who called himself the Hammer.
The
The receiver of the
There
Mediterranean.
we go.
Yes.
We've named him, but better name, the receiver of the Mediterranean.
He's the sort of guy that a lot of people don't necessarily know about, but he's been striving in higher divisions recently by being a sub and Div C, Div B. He's a good player that was sort of lost in the whole Warriors team.
I was gonna ask, since he's departed, what do you think is the biggest? Like, how do you think that's hurt the team, or how do you feel it's hurt the team at all?
Well, you lose some players that that we thought were just support players, cast players, but in fact they were actually having a bigger impact than we could have seen just from by seeing one or two games.
Especially
Right?
like again, we use Morlatos as an example. They replaced him with Pat Lindor. Pat Lindor is a very good receiver.
Yes,
And
that was recent. After their
but
struggles.
he's on the team now.
Yeah.
So Pat Lindor, in my estimation, is a better receiver than he is a defensive player. And when if you know if you know how to use him well, you can have a huge impact on a game. So and again, they replaced him with Angel Morlatos, who was primarily a receiver, but again, it's not even a huge statistical difference. But for some reason, it seemed as though Morlatos just fit that team. Well,
it's like if you take one of your friends you've been playing football with for a very long time, you've got that chemistry going. You know what works well for him. You know the receiver. When you sub him for another player that could be potentially better, but you've never played with before, you might not have that connection right away, and you might not be able to use him on third or fourth downs that are critical, where Angelo might have had a bigger impact before.
Yeah.
That's just to name one of the guys that aren't on Warriors anymore. They were like a 10, 11 guys team, and now they've subbed in a few guys. So there's a few guys missing. I think the team is a little bit different. They kept the same name, and we think it's the same because we recognize the same brand names as Soleimani Brothers.
Well, the core is still there.
Exactly, the core is still there, but the rest of the team is not, and it's sort of a different team now.
Los Banditos kept up with the Warriors without Vincent Benjamin. Does that surprise you?
A little bit, considering Los Banditos were missing potentially their best player in Vincent Benjamin.
It was replaced. The production replaced by François Desrochers running for 2 touchdowns, and Jeremy Gauthier scoring 2 touchdowns on receptions as well.
I was going to say 7 completions for
2
70
interceptions
yards.
and a touchdown.
That's rough.
It's not great. But yeah, they were missing their best receiver, potentially their best player. It's tough to replace. So that means that Los Banditos technically would be a better team than Warriors if they would face a game, right? Like that would put them higher in the power rankings considering they tied without their best player.
A game that we need to discuss and see how we feel as to whether or not it's even an upset anymore. Braves beat FPF All-Stars 35-26. Is this an upset? Are Braves becoming the top dog in FPF?
I think they slowly are. I think it's just we have that bias of saying White is the top dog. Every team White quarterback is the best team. So
the thing is, I will say, having done some research, I know you just overreact to the most recent thing instead of look at things. The results are interesting. So in the Braves' history, playing against DA's finest, whatever the
Kevin
Wyatt's team, whatever version of the finest or not the finest Kevin Wyatt is playing for, that's playing in Division 1/A. Braves' record against them is 3-6.
Not great.
They won the first game.
Yes, I remember that.
They went on a huge losing streak since then.
All close games though. They rarely lose by.
Now here's the other thing: the point differential, despite the fact that 3-6, only -9.
Not bad.
Not bad, considering you lost 6 of those games. That means on average you've lost those games by a little over a point.
I remember a few of those games they scored in garbage time. Finest was up by 9-10 points, and then they scored to lose by 3, but they were down 2 scores, right?
Okay.
But the result remains that the margin is -9 in the 3-6 record.
Because a lot of times, like Rainmakers would score in garbage time, but they would now lose by 20.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like so they are keeping up
for sure
at a different level that we're used to seeing. They win this game. So you're thinking it can become a change? A change of the guard.
I think that recently the Braves roster sort of retooled themselves, and they really brought the better players to make the Braves the best team they could be. When they came into Division 2 in their first season, they had a few guys that don't play FPF anymore, either because they don't want to or they don't have time or stuff like that. But the pickups that Braves have done, like JD Chevalier over the years, really helps them, and it fits the team well.
So when they have their entire offense, Georges Galipi, Mike Piercin, JD Chevalier, Matt Lepage, etc., are they the best offense in FPF?
I still think that right now that FPF All-Star team has the best offense, but they don't have the best defense to compensate. Yep. As an overall team, I think Braves is a better team because their defense is much better than in comparison to what Kevin Wyatt's defense usually is, but his offense remains the most potent offense.
But allowing 35 points in Tier 1 is not a lot of points. Like, if anything, I'm more shocked that they only put up 26. And even 14 for 25 from Wyeth. Sure, it gets 4 TDs, but that's not good.
And here's the thing: is that again a case of bias? So for example, for years and years and years, we said, man, if Jacques Voigt joined the finals, joined the finest, it would be absolutely huge and whatever. But like now that he has joined the finest, it almost seems like it's not as big a deal because he's amazingly talented. But like
he's
a guy like
lost.
Georges Garipi didn't exist in FPF before. A guy like Mike Pierre Saint, Matt Lepage, these weren't big names in FPF. And do we automatically give do we automatically sort of have that bias to reward players who play with the finest or have played in FPF a long time?
I think so. The guys like Jacques Voigt is a very talented player, but on a team like this, he's sort of lost in the crowd where they've got players like him. They've got an Anthony Van Ram who sort of runs the same similar routes as Jacques Voigt. Pat Jerome who has that deep threat ability, and they got both the Pilons, Serge and Alex.
Mm-hmm.
So if considering how Kevin White will run his team with the Pilons, a player like Jacques Voigt is sort of lost a little bit offensively because he doesn't have that. He becomes a sort of a number 4, maybe number 5 receiver, right? So how many targets is he really gonna have? How many opportunities is he really gonna have per game to make a difference?
We see now the Braves essentially becoming the new rivalry for FPF All-Stars /Finest / whatnot.
Yeah, they should
Before
be.
that, we had like D-Boys, and prior to that was the Hurricanes, and Hurricane Florence ripping through North Carolina, unfortunately.
That was nice try as a segue.
It's pretty good. But first of all, I wanted to say, our hearts go to anyone who may be dealing with any of that. I've been in a hurricane. It's not fun.
Sucks, man.
It's very much not enjoyable. So hopefully it's something that can be resolved quickly. But so there are things about it that can be considered comical, and I'll get to that.
Okay,
But also
let's switch our focus from we're sorry, we hope everything's okay to let's joke about it now.
Yeah. So the thing is, in North Carolina, and it's so also the thing we're making fun of may also lead to an environmental catastrophe.
Okay.
But until it happens, it's kind of funny. So there's a lot of pigs in North Carolina.
I heard about this.
And so, which is amazing because they are the finest purveyors of pulled pork in the Carolinas. I don't care what anybody says. South Carolina, North Carolina barbecue is absolutely something special. And you gotta love pork. So if you love pork, I'm telling you, head down to the Carolinas ASAP.
Well, not now.
Sorry,
now.
no.
Not ASAP. Wait a little bit. But so the thing is, the way that they treat the pig waste, the excrement of the pigs, is that they funnel them off into these sort of like irrigation areas where they run water through it. So it's just basically poop rivers.
Okay.
That are, and it's a way to, it's a cheap, efficient way to handle the pig waste, and also that serves as compost. So it's somewhat odd and
it's
disgusting.
not the worst thing to do.
No, except if there's a flood, and the thing that will be flooding is something like
A village.
30,000 kilos of poor pig excrement and water. That is a terrifying idea.
Not only is your house getting flooded, but it's getting flooded by shit.
yeah, it's definitely not fun.
You wake up in the morning, your basement full of shit.
Yeah. So we can laugh at it now. If this does happen,
Which could potentially.
we'll have a
right?
very somber tone the next time we talk about it in a couple of years.
I don't know if people are gonna keep a straight face on the news when they announce it.
It'll be tough. Either way, we can say they'll be in deep shit. Not unlike Bulldogs, and they faced unknown talent this week. Are we ready to say Alessandro Barazzoni is the next upcoming QB? We were saying he was better off as a receiver. As always, it may appear as though we don't know anything.
We don't know anything. We've been through that before. I think there's something about very good receivers that makes them. Well, he's a good athlete, which helps them as a quarterback. He's in a division where he doesn't have to face the toughest of defenses. Bulldogs are sort of still trying to find their ways, and they're not the most complete team. And it's something we see a lot in lower divisions. Is when he's talented enough, they just air it out and it works. If we look at an offense like EZW that had success in the spring season, it's the same thing. Jeremy White is a very good receiver, won receiver of the year a few times. He's a good quarterback because he's athletic and he's able to air it out well.
Yeah.
Is that going to make him a very good quarterback moving up? Maybe as he progresses and he learns, but that doesn't make him instantly the best quarterback there is. I think it's a very similar situation where he found something that works really well for him, exploits that, and hopefully learns through his experience the sort of transition towards a more pocket passer-ish system to be able to use both aspects at the same time.
Are we certain on the other side of the coin that Emmanuel Brule is the actual quarterback for Bulldogs?
Is he the actual quarterback?
Because he threw
Probably.
a touchdown and 6 interceptions.
Ooh, there's the Dagenais numbers.
Didn't finish the game. And Harvey Lambert, who's probably their best receiver, took over at quarterback and did fine.
I mean, if you throw a 6 at some point, you got to bench the guy.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, can it be the quarterback wasn't there that game?
He's played the quarterback.
Six interceptions
Isn't
is
this
tough,
the-
even for
Isn't this their second week?
No, this is their first game.
Oh, Bulldogs haven't played yet.
And it's his first game throwing. And he doesn't have a long history in FPF.
I would say.
So there's not a lot of information.
I would say maybe give him a second chance, just in case. Just in case unknown talent is really, really good.
Well,
Like, we weren't there, right? So I don't know what. I don't know why. If you're throwing a 5-yard hook and your ball floats a little bit too much and everybody's shooting, it's a different story than if you're throwing at DBs.
I would say the thing with unknown talent is that might be a key, like a hint in their name. Alessandro Barazzoni is the guy who's played St. Leonard Cougars, if I'm not mistaken.
Isn't that the team with
Plays in CJEP. And so my thing is that he may have access to a lot of players we don't know about. So this guy like Rafael Morelli, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's played a little bit in FPF and has had some success, but like that's a monster game. That's not just a regular person game.
But isn't this the team with AJ Combs' brother?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I think
I've seen them warm up.
Team.
They look good. Like they look like
Eagle,
they're
can
good
you get
players.
us AJ's brother's name because I feel bad calling someone's brother.
Duke's brother.
Yeah.
Although nobody
I've never
calls
once
you
been-
Duke brother.
No.
Usually Pease's brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Sebastian.
Sebastian Gomes.
But yeah, I've seen. But some of these players played in the spring season, and they usually play like 5 guys every week. There's a lot of talent. They just didn't really know what to do. They need a little bit of coaching, and I think that the extra season is really going to help them. They might have a very good fuck up.
Yeah, we had unfortunately another forfeit. Teen Stars forfeiting their second game. So MACDO gets the win 16-0. You guys had a story to tell about this, so I'll let you guys have the floor.
MACDO. So I was at the field. So I was playing on the field right next to them. We sent the team an email very late at 8:30 on Monday night to tell them, please don't show up. You don't have an opponent. Don't go for no reason at 10 p.m. on a Monday night.
Yeah.
They got the email, which is good, and they decided to come anyways and practice. If you get the notice an hour before,
Hey, you paid for that field.
there you go. No, you're allowed to use it 100%.
Why not?
And the short notice might tell the guys, like, nobody made other plans, right? Nobody rearranged their night saying, I'll do something else. So they showed up anyways. They practiced. And since it's their first ever FPF game, so to speak, it could be good practice for them.
Yeah.
There was a player on the team. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. That was sort of coaching them during that practice time, telling them sort of what to do and how to run the defense. And it's something that could avoid some first ever game troubles. Like there's a few things you don't know and you're learning as you go. That practice time could have really helped them.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, Eagle, you had to.
I was just going to add to that because now it's 2 games in a row that Teen Stars forfeit. So for any of their future opponents, we've been told this won't happen again. Basically, what happened was this particular week was a Jewish holiday on Monday, and the Teen Stars captain didn't know that you could black out dates. So they got scheduled on the Monday and then emailed us saying, hey, we can't play Monday. And we went, okay. And so that's why if you remember, we were the post on the wall trying to find people to potentially sub to play against MACDO. And ultimately, we just couldn't get enough people to actually show up to kind of fill in because you can't play for multiple teams this year, right? So you have to find people who weren't playing available Monday.
And usually people who aren't playing FPF at all, it's because they can't.
Yeah, if you're not playing in the fall, usually it's because you can't play in the fall.
Oh.
So it's tough to, and we only had a few hours notice to find a team, and we didn't have like a full week, right?
So that's definitely it's a terrible situation.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm sorry for MACDO. It's a great team name. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it as much as I can.
And keeping with the theme of the day, we can say it's crappy. But I don't know if you've seen this video. This is the kind of humor that only exists in Quebec.
I knew you were going there.
So this guy pretends to be a McDonald's employee.
Does he pretend?
We gotta link the video to the.
Does he
FPF
pretend,
video.
or is he?
No, he's pretending to be.
Or does he work at another McDo and he already has a uniform?
Maybe, but I don't know. Let's say he's pretending to work at McDonald's, and what happens is there is a toilet that is full of
Excrement?
yeah, but specifically diarrhea.
Was this in North Carolina by any chance?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's here.
It's very much in Quebec, and so the whole thing happens in French, and it's pretty hilarious. The guy, he's basically getting guys into the washroom and like forcing them to like try and admit that it was them, and like pushing them into the stall and forcing them to like stay in the stall with the mess they made. It's really funny.
Saying that sounds terrible.
Yeah,
But
it's also awesome.
Yeah, he sort of like it's sort of a prank / film with his friends sort of thing. It's pretty good. The people's expression's pretty good.
Sweat and Beers took on Dirty Dogs, 26-19.
It was a good game though.
What can we expect from Robbie Robinson at quarterback at this point, as he led Sweat and Beers to the victory over Dirty Dogs?
So he brought that Bobby. What's his last name? Serpent something.
Bobby Spaghetti's.
Yes, Bobby Spaghetti's. It's Bobby Spaghetti's usual team with Rocco, Cristiano, Akeem, Lloyd Charles, and Chris Williams.
Norfolk and Chance.
Yeah,
guys,
James Arnold. So the team has a lot of individual talent, but they had a revolving door at quarterback for quite some time now, and Robbie Robinson's a very good quarterback. He's established in FPF. He's won some titles as a quarterback. The only thing is he runs a specific system, and he needs guys to sort of not just buy in, but actually run routes and do things in a specific way. And from what I've seen in that game, I don't think that's the perfect roster for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he's gonna have the same success as we might think he will just because of his name. But it's still a good team, and they play well.
So my question is somewhat multifaceted. Is the reason Rocco Cristiano not quarterback is because he's playing for Vanier this season and isn't there all season with his team with Sweat and Beers, or is it because he's not yet ready? And when do you think we can see a guy like Rocco Cristiano playing at a high level? Because you and I noticed when the first time we saw him play, this guy can make a lot of different throws.
Yeah. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of like it's a both are through saying if he plays for Vanier, he might miss a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
So do you not want to have a quarterback that plays 2 or 3 games in your season? They decided to go with Robbie Robinson instead, which is it's a good replacement. I think Rocco has a lot of talent, but still needs some time. Like he's not there yet, and it's not just an ability problem. The play calling is not good enough for higher divisions in the way they run their offense. So either they need to bring in somebody that's going to help him with that. A guy like Robbie Robinson as a receiver, for instance. Maybe that was the idea, but then maybe Rocco bailed out at last minute saying, listen, I can't play all these games. The schedule doesn't work for me. We'll see. He was there this week. He played receiver, and he's a very good receiver.
Oh, he's insanely fast.
Yeah.
So it helps.
So there's no knock there too. But they're in a very tough division. There's not a lot of There's not gonna be a lot of gimmies for them.
So for Dirty Dogs, we already see a whole bunch of names on that roster. Is roster consistency going to be an issue moving forward, do you think?
Well, from what Ryan Leninowski told me, it was a Jewish holiday on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
He was missing 5 or 6 guys, so they had to play anyways. He was the only guy on that team that was there, because he was the only guy that was available to come out and play.
Yeah.
Due to the holiday, so it's not so much that they were missing. They have a different roster every week. It's that this was an exception.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been 2 weeks. But there's still gonna be a lot of names on that roster. We know Dirty Dogs. We know their history. Some guys miss games. Hopefully Ryan Leninowski is able to play every week, but they might use Ryan Kastner permanently.
Okay. So
like he's on the roster. He played week 1.
yeah.
Ryan wasn't there. But if you have Ryan Leninowski as a receiver and Ryan Kastner as a quarterback, it's a much better
But
team,
it is
right?
it is Ryan Leninowski's team. Do you know that that's what they're planning to do?
I was told Ryan Kastner couldn't make this week's game.
Okay. So that implies that he's on
That
the
implies that he's on
a
the
member,
team.
Yeah.
And I don't think Ryan Kastner's going to play receiver.
I've never seen it.
Me neither. But considering he's got Dave Chidiat and Ryan Leninowski as receivers who used to be on Rainmakers back in the days,
Yeah.
that turns into a very good offense suddenly. Much better than we expected to be.
Eagle.
We have a comment from earlier, going back to the FPF All-Stars and Jacques Void, from newlywed GM Calethris.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah, but he's got all sorts of bias.
Yes. So this
Minus
is the
10% on respecting his opinion.
This is the historian's perspective. So he goes, Void's chemistry with Kevin is the appeal. Think you guys aren't taking that into account, referring to, I imagine, their touch experience together?
My point is, all the old guys from FPF overtake it into account and don't think that George Garipi has chemistry with Jonathan Meru because it happened. Because it didn't happen in FPF, it didn't happen.
Also, let's not forget that the people get older, and Jacques Void is probably number 5 receiver on that team.
Mm-hmm.
How many targets is he going to have per game?
Yeah.
Right.
We had one reception, maybe 2-3 targets total.
Yeah, or maybe just 1. Like considering how this team is built, I don't see Jacques Void getting 10 targets per game.
Shower beer, you do it?
I do. I discovered that because of you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It changed my life.
Yeah. So when you're getting ready for a party, you're getting ready to go out. I'm going to a wedding this Saturday.
Or podcast.
Or podcast. I can assure you I will be having a shower beer.
For sure. It's so refreshing.
Because it's hot in the shower and the beer is cold.
It's weirdly refreshing, and it's a weird feeling where you feel like you're on vacation, but you're not really. Yeah. It's amazing.
I call it it's like a man spa. Like you go in there, drink a beer. Interestingly, my brewing partner, because I do brew beer, my brewing partner, his wife, a long-time girlfriend, bought us both like a cup holder for our shower.
I bought myself one.
Nice. It's kind of amazing. It only supports cans. So it's 4 bought beers, not our beer, unless I buy a canning facility. But I won't. And so it's awesome though. It's a nice little way.
Great.
Get ready, have yourself a pre-drink.
My girlfriend puts her shampoo there. I take it out every single
Yeah,
time.
Natalia puts the shampoo in there too.
That's
And
not
I
what
take
it's
it
there
out.
for.
I throw the shampoo on the floor. 'Cause I'm fed up. Put the beer instead.
I saw a meme where there was a guy saying, "Oh, my doctor told me I'm getting old and I need to put a bar in my shower." It's like, so I did it. Don't really understand how it's related, but now I can have gin and tonics in the shower.
So to sort of answer the question, but cans or bottles?
So I have to go cans.
Like
I used to go bottle though.
Really?
Really?
Because I didn't really buy like canned beer unless I was going fishing.
It's fair.
Or
Or outdoors.
For fishing or outdoors, exactly. Like camping, fishing, sitting around a fire. But like so usually in the house all I had was bottles.
Yeah, I feel like I have this feeling towards bottles and cans where cans is like trashy beer I don't really care about.
They often put the same beers.
I know, but it's like my feeling is when I have cans, whatever.
Nah.
It doesn't matter. I could throw it around, but
It'll change your
bottles,
life
it's
forever.
precious.
Vox Populi fruit punch, you'll never think that again. Telling you.
I don't know. I'd just be too worried to put a bottle in the shower because, admit it, you drop like soap or something every now and then. If you drop a beer bottle and that shatters badly,
I mean, at one point, so Eagle, you don't play offense, right?
I do
But
not.
that-
For
Hence the
good
lack-
reason.
Hence the lack of hands, right?
But that would be a crazy story. Like you get to the hospital, what happened? Shower beer.
That'd be pretty bad. That'd be
So
pretty
many cuts.
bad. Les Banlieusards looked
You-
really bad.
You could have went with broken ankles right here.
No. Les Banlieusards looked really bad first week.
Yeah.
They then beat FreeVinny. I thought this was like a trap game. I submitted my part to Francois' article. We talk about underdogs winning. I thought FreeVinny would win that game. Nope, was wrong. Nicolas Santomo all of a sudden was in rhythm with all his receivers. Looked great. Was that just a matter of having not thrown to this specific core, this specific team, and shaking it off the rest in week 1?
Nick Chintomo?
Yeah.
100% for sure. Like he's proven Div 1 quarterback, but he runs a specific offense and he can't just take any sort of receivers and just make it work. And he hasn't played in a while.
Yeah.
So he wasn't playing quarterback also recently. I think there's a little bit of both. There's a little bit of rust. There might have been surprised. They might have been missing guys. He wasn't very comfortable. Maybe didn't warm up. Maybe he should have played. There's a bunch of things that could happen. But Banditos should be contender this season. They should have a strong
It
team.
just when I was there to watch them week 1, they looked so bad. It looked incompetent. Like it looked like
But
the
that-
communication was bad, and
But that's been the Godskill MO for a long time. Is if they start off poorly, they just give up and
Okay.
whatever, and just want to finish the game and go home.
yeah, it looked exactly like that.
That's usually what happens. Is if they're down a little bit, instead of trying to fight back, they usually just whatever, it doesn't matter, and let's go home and we'll play next week.
Another guy's been away for a while. Vince Nardone had a minor role in this game, other than catching that one touchdown. Not really a huge role in the game. Do you think it's just a matter of time before he becomes a bigger part of the offense? And obviously we know more for his defense, but do you think he'll start to have a bigger role, a bigger impact on the game as his return to FPF is no longer so recent?
I think it's just a matter of how you use him. I think it's not a matter of, we all know he's a very talented player on both sides of the ball. He has a bigger impact defensively, but I'm not too worried about it. I think it's just a matter of he might have not been used in this game particularly because of matchups or whatnot. I would not. I think he's a very good player, and he's gonna have his time to shine at some point. And he also thinks that way too. Like he's not the sort of guy who asks for target necessarily. He's like, I'm there if you need me to. If you don't need me to, and we're still winning, I don't really care.
Yeah. Definitely. Sorry, because I had
The most Peeze of all time.
Would you like me to stall while you look at the paper a little bit longer?
No, because I had a point and then forgot it. So now we'll just move to another game. Diablos beat Mean Machine 53-24. Mean Machine's last winning season was in Division 6 in winter 2015 when they went 8-2.
Really? Winning season. Sorry, I thought you meant win.
No, that's winning
Is it really?
season.
They haven't won it
So they've
before?
done a lot of like 4-5-1, 4-6. But like that's the last time they won when they went 8-2 was in Division 6 winter 2015. They're fun. They're a gritty team. But is this tier too much of a stretch for them?
I think so. I think they're a bit out of their depth. Tier 2 is weirdly strong this season. There's like a big parity between the number 1 seed and the last seed.
Like you're sticking one speed power Division 16 in there. Thanks FPF.
Yeah, so but that's an example, right? Like I feel like the parity is huge, and I think sadly, Mean Machine is one of those bottom teams with 1 speed power where they'll win some games. I don't think they're gonna go 0-8. I think they'll win some, but I don't think they're gonna have a very successful season. Luckily, everybody makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're a good enough team that if they're ranked properly, they could win a cup this season.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that they'll beat teams like Diablos or Junkyard Dogs.
So far, Diablos have beaten ostensibly an upgraded Division 16 1 speed power.
Well, Division 5. You guys are pretty much Division 5 bound now.
Sure.
With a better quarterback, so like a strong Division 5.
Yeah. And then Mean Machine. So are they just a good team beating on Div 5 teams at this point, or are they actually this good?
I think they're one of the better team in Tier 2. They're definitely one of the top 3 teams in Tier 2. There's no doubt about it. But I think the score reflects them beating on teams. It's not necessarily just because they're so strong and so good. It's they take pride in putting up 50, and they do it shamelessly.
How happy is François Martin beating Division 5 teams?
Oh, if he could be
Like
on
describe a thing in your life that makes you as happy as him beating Division 5 teams.
peanut butter jelly time.
I mean,
That's terrible.
I look at this this game sheet.
Answer the question.
Just hold on. George Elivoyer has 7 receptions, 154 yards, 4 TDs.
Bombs on bombs on bombs.
Exactly, but you
He's
know
faster.
it's coming. How do you not adjust for that? That's why they're putting up 53 every week.
So having played them, they're faster than you.
Then cushion them. Slow
That's
the game down.
That's annoying.
But then they hit a hook at 15 yards.
Then let them do that.
And then he cuts up field and makes guys miss because he's faster than you.
If you're not going to be able to put up 40 points against them, then slow the game down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Sucks
think
when they're faster than
Yeah,
you.
but
And just play man
yeah.
across the board. And on offense, again, they just take deep shots. And when deep shot's not there, François Martin is very good. Very happy to take a 12-yard sideline hook.
yeah, or like a deep out.
Yeah.
He loves that deep out. Georges Elivoyer. But Diablos is the sort of team that are really going to beat on weaker teams because across the board they're better. They win every single matchup, and they're going to keep winning. But once they face teams that are equally good as them, if they play teams like Junkyard Dogs, they're not going to put up 50. It's going to be a greedy game at 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they are. Is they're going to make mistakes offensively and defensively, but it's a very good, well-rounded team. and I'm curious to see. I don't think that the first 8 games are going to matter for them, but I'm curious to see where they actually rank for the playoffs.
Okay.
Like if they move up, who moves down against them?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Right?
That would be interesting. One speed power we just mentioned beat Les Flamants Fous 33-20, despite the deficiencies of speed and youth.
And you
I don't want to talk too much about one speed power because who cares? But
sort of every week, but
yeah.
it's okay.
Sorry.
Every week, but it's okay.
Well,
We
no,
do talk
it's-
about every team every week.
But so I don't want to. And the teams I tend not to talk about will be mentioned in the article, so pay attention for that.
Where is? Am I
Um,
missing the page?
No, it's 3 pages. Pay attention.
I'm looking for one. Oh,
So
there.
the thing is that I want to actually talk a little bit more about Les Flamants Fous.
Okay.
And specifically
0-2 Flamants Fous.
0-2, exactly.
The winless Flamants Fous.
Now, it's a team that was, when we last saw them, didn't do well in the early part of the regular season, went on a
Mhm.
run, and then were very competitive in the playoffs.
Yep.
Went to the finals.
Yep. Sounds like them.
There is something I noticed in this game, and I like to help people, so I don't like to hold on to information and just for my own benefit. So I figured it's something I'd bring up and tell me. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. So what I noticed in this game, because what I make up for in lack of attractiveness and speed, I make up with being a pretty intelligent football player.
Wow.
So one of the things I've noticed was early on, he doesn't like to throw interceptions. So a lot of his plays revolve around corners and hooks because those are the
Doesn't like to
safest.
throw intercept. Nobody likes to throw intercept.
No, but he's almost fearful of throwing interceptions. So he doesn't
Okay.
like throwing over the middle of the field.
Okay.
So a lot of what he does is throw corners and hooks, and so his first read is the corner, and then he'll immediately check down to the hook without really checking the intermediate middle part of the field. So what we did was have the middle linebacker, the 3, play cover 2 with 1 and 5 dropping, the 2 corners dropping, and then have the 3, the middle linebacker, crash to a sideline, take a gamble as to which side, and the guy from that side, the half from that side, crash back to the middle.
Okay.
So what happened was he would look deep, the corner's not there, and almost without looking, throw it to the sideline where a DB is breaking on the ball.
Yeah, he's running that way, right?
So-
Or well, after time. He's
so-
running that way.
Receivers dropping balls because footsteps, the ball getting knocked down. Alex David almost had 2 interceptions on that. And a couple of shifts in the red zone as well, where guys, so releasing the smash to have the corner shoot under the smash led to a pick 6. So, and we were able to do that despite the fact that they're a much faster, younger
Mhm.
group of guys, but just because we saw that happening, we were able to take that away, and that worries me. So my hope is that Nick Schaefer learns from that, and it's like, okay, because the guy's a rocket, by the way.
Oh yeah,
He throws so hard.
Undeniable.
And he can make every throw, but man, you need to exploit the middle of the field, especially when teams are using shifts and shoots on you.
So it's a lot of teams in lower divisions don't necessarily use shifts like that. They don't create opportunities for the defense so much. But again, if your defense is doing exactly that, then nobody's covering the snapper.
Well, that's the thing. We dared him to take the snapper.
But that's the
Because
thing.
then let's say Alex Davis shooting to the outside. I'm the one who's then crashing on the snapper, who's much younger and faster than me.
So
he had a 7-yard hook all day.
So if Nick Schaffer, well, he's getting there. He's been playing for a while, but we could still consider him like a young quarterback in FPF. His snapper should tell him,
I'm wide open. Every
like,
play.
they're not covering me.
Yeah.
No, I don't want the ball. They're not covering me. If this guy shoots that way, there's nobody left where I am.
As a snapper,
right?
what I've done, and you know this because we played together, is I'll come to you and say, this part of the field's open.
Yeah.
I'm not saying throw to me here.
No.
I'm saying look at this part of the
The
field.
3 moves.
Yeah.
There's nobody left at 3. Use it, right?
Yeah.
If it's me, if it's someone else, just that part, they're giving that part away. They're daring you to go there. And I think that's something that a lot of people, so there's 2 mentalities where there's guys who are asking for the ball or very annoying offensively as a receiver. Like if a receiver's asking for the ball, it's very annoying. But there's also the other flip side of giving your guy information because you don't have time to read all 5 positions. But that could help you. That could give you some information. Then you could try it
Well,
afterwards.
another thing I've talked to you about before is when for example, this type of play, hook, corner, hook, is all ISO reads, 5 across the board.
Yep.
So unless you read very quickly, it's very difficult to even get to your third read.
Yeah.
And so it almost makes it, if you don't so if a team is doing things like this and you don't have floods and you don't have things that can take advantage of sort of quick reads, easy to process plays, it could make it difficult for your offense.
Well, it's also because it's 3 individual reads that requires the quarterback to reset his footing and his hips every single time. Whereas if you're using what you've described as flood concepts, where you have multiple receivers going to the same zone, then you don't have to reset your hips
Or
every
different
time.
levels.
You just look at different levels, and your motion would be the same, so you don't have to reset every single time. Save you a little bit of time there.
One thing we haven't mentioned is the roster changes on Flamants Fous. So Thomas Coutu right now is hurt, so he's not rushing. That changes their defense tremendously.
Yeah.
And Jeremy White is playing with Easy W, and I think there's a couple guys that went with him as well.
Levine as well.
Exactly. So that's a very different offense than what you're used to seeing from Flamants Fous.
They're
so
still
it's a
they're so
readjustment.
fast though. They're still all super fast.
They're fast. It's just it's a different team, and it's probably this is the growing pains you're seeing.
Yeah.
But their defense is good, and they're missing the best defensive player.
Some growing pains, as it would be any kind of pain if you would have broken ankles. But broken ankles, losing 31-26. So I remember JD Jolly was talking so much trash about, hey, I can't believe my team got demoted to Division E2, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
that was funny to me.
They just lost to a team that was in E2 in this past spring.
Yeah.
So maybe you're not too good to be talking about teams in E2.
Also, they didn't win. Division
No,
E2.
they lost. Well, it was also the quarterback was injured.
Okay.
Lacerated hand. It was nasty.
Okay. So they didn't win.
Correct.
Okay.
Joe Lemieux, maybe next time don't lacerate your hand.
Next time, break your ankle.
Oh.
No, not really.
Give
What's wrong
yourself
with
a
you?
sad game show sound.
Yeah.
Joshua Vasquez, we saw him first of all from a running quarterback to a quarterback who was a main target and now becoming a more complete QB. We saw Igor Hubin with 2 touchdowns in this game. Is he there? Is he now ready to make that next step?
Josh Vasquez. I think so, slowly but surely. I don't think he's the sort of quarterback that's instantly going to become like a Division 3 quarterback. I think there's a lot of processing that needs to go through. There's also players on Los Avocados that are not necessarily Division 1 receivers. So there's a little bit of both. He's learning to go with his receivers, but he's also learning to develop as a quarterback. He's much better than when he started. There's no doubt about it.
Another guy I noticed on the roster is a guy I've played with. He used to play with Moose, Darksiders, those teams. Antoine Baril on broken ankles. He uses a rusher in this game at 3 sacks. The kid's fast.
He's fast.
But what he's best at is a flat defender and who breaks on everything.
Yep.
And breaks on every route in front of him. So it'd be curious to see if broken ankles have another player they can put at rusher to allow him to
There's
jump.
the possibility that guys don't necessarily want to rush.
Yeah.
There's also that, right?
If you have a way to use him in the flat, I would recommend using him in the flat.
Maybe they don't know him that way.
Yeah.
The guy said, whatever, I'll rush, I don't mind. But he could be a better defensive player. The flats, or even he's fast enough to play man.
The overreactionary Simon Dagenais talked about the best defense in Tier 4 as Bud Knights, even though they lost the previous week and they let up 30 points.
Yeah, but they learned.
So they now became, in 1 week,
yes,
the
instantly.
best from one of the worst defenses to one of the best defenses.
0 points against. I mean, allowing 0 points is difficult.
But how much of that is the replacements offense just does that sometimes?
And they were looking for subs this week, I think.
Yeah.
They have a few different names this week, replacements.
Some replacements, so to speak.
It's like
what?
First of all, I never said Bud Knight's the best defense in division. I
You
don't know where
wrote
you.
that in the script that you sent to me.
First of all, I didn't send you anything, so that's a lie.
Posting it later today.
It's a lie. Also, side note, I think Bud Knight has a better defense than people give him credit for.
You gave them credit as the best defense.
First of all, you did not. I did not. Nobody says that. Also, they've got a lot of veteran players on Bud Knights that are good individual players. There's also they had a new quarterback that was struggling a lot. I remember I watched most of their week 1 game, and I think the other team had 8 or 9 possessions, and they scored 20 points, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered. I think it's just a matter of their offense couldn't go anywhere. They're turning the ball over a lot, and they gave the other team too many opportunities. In this game, though, replacements couldn't do nothing.
Does Nico Lani need to become the focal point of the offense for the replacements to be more consistent?
I've said it before. I think replacements need to sort of retweak their offense and stop trying to be a very generic offense that just runs typical plays. They have a quarterback that's athletic. He's fast. Use it to your advantage. He does. In my opinion, he doesn't run enough. They also don't use the receiver's speeds or sizes the right way. You don't need to send your slowest, biggest guy down the field. Use him as a 7-yard hook because he's the bigger guy. Just place it where only he could grab it. Use guys like Nicolani, who's so fast, underneath, and let him run with the ball. Don't force yourself into positions that you're not comfortable in. Don't have him run a fly route where you can't throw 40 yards. You don't have to. Hit a 2-yard drag underneath. Let him run afterwards. You get 4 or 5 yards every time.
I can tell you, having thrown to Nicolani, that's exactly what I did. You take this 2-yard pass and you make it 40 yards.
Well, there you go. Just turn up and gain yards afterwards, and we'll move the offense that way. And then you stretch the field and you force them to cover everything.
Eagle, get the schedule out, because I'm going to ask a question here. Do replacements have a chance to win 6 of their next 7 games, even if they don't fix the offense?
Llama's pajamas, raw sauce, fresh lungs, Trojans, Teen Stars, Bruins.
Well, we know nothing about Teen Stars.
Yes. So, but they might not show up.
Maybe they won't be there.
But Llama's Pajamas, a new team. Raw Sauce, a team that's not been consistent.
Raw Sauce is struggling a little bit more still. I think that Bruins are going to be one of the better teams in that tier, even with the new quarterback. I think that replacements has a chance of winning games regardless of their offense, but their defense is going to have to do better.
Yeah.
They've been a good defensive.
So how about you answer my question?
The replacement are...
Can they win 6 of their next 7 even if they don't fix their offense?
No.
Just by the virtue of the schedule?
No, because if you score 0 points...
Okay,
like,
they don't always score 0, but they rarely score more than 3 touchdowns.
But
let's say scoring between 14 and 21 points, can you win 6 of the next 7? Given the schedule they have. Where they lose to Bruins.
Yes, but for different reasons. You could win with 20 points, but they have too many turnovers that give the other team too many opportunities. If they stop throwing interceptions and they punt, but they like turnovers that are not costly, then 20 points, yes, will win you games. If you always give them the ball at their 10 and you force them to drive the whole field and their offense is still struggling a little bit, if you're playing teams like Llama Pajamas, but if you give them the ball back at the 5, you're not helping yourself.
How high maintenance are you guys as girls?
Not as much as yours.
Yeah. It's my fiance's birthday week. Birthday week is something I discovered only when I started dating Natalia.
I didn't know it
this
existed.
Is her birthday week.
Well, I knew it existed for like West Island 16-year-old girls.
Yeah, I know. Also for, I can't say her age, not 16-year-old.
It's somewhere between 18 and 65.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because otherwise that'd be weird.
Yeah. Even over 65 is less weird than the alternate.
Well, it depends. Would it be weird if she was 45 or weirder if she was 18?
Weirder if she's 18.
Because it's her birthday today. That means she would have been 17 yesterday.
Yeah, and we've been dating for 5 years.
But then, would you date a girl that's 20 years older than you are?
How rich? How attractive? No, that's the thing is I've now become accustomed to having festivities all week long, culminating to a really big birthday thing.
I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah, every year's, dude. This year's been nuts.
So what if you don't do it?
Then I mean, probably nothing. But then I feel crappy because I didn't deliver.
Oh, so at this point, it's on
yeah,
you.
it's like guilt.
Shame.
It's the eternal guilt. So I want to flip it instead and talk about what's the funniest thing that's happened to you on your birthdays.
Funniest thing that happened to me on my birthday?
Because I can lead with one to give you time to think if you want.
Yeah, we'll need time.
So my 30th birthday party was a house party at my place, and it was right after I got hired with FPF. Rob was like, "Yeah, Peeze, you're an interesting guy. You wrote a couple of articles for Andrew, Dana. You were interesting on the podcast. Let's get you in. It'll be interesting. Let's get you on the team. Sure, awesome." So we have my 30th birthday, and everyone came and brought a bottle of whiskey or scotch or whatnot. I decided I was going to try every bottle that was brought to me.
See which one's the best.
There were 60 people at this party in my condo.
Okay.
And you weren't sipping them.
No, I was hammering full glasses of each bottle of scotch. So the next day, I had to go to a meeting at FPF after taking 2 showers. I still smelled like vomit. But what's interesting about that is I didn't vomit. So my question is, whose vomit? And then Eagle had to drive me, and he's like, "My God, you smell like a homeless person."
He literally got in the car and smelled of death.
Yeah.
And I had to sit next to him, and Rob made breakfast for us, actually.
Yeah.
And he's just there with, like, the sunglasses and just eating his eggs, just going at it, just trying to get as much sunlight away from him as possible.
The eggs were too bright for my eyes. And I was just like, man, he's gonna tell Eagle, like, just can me, get rid of this guy.
Who is this?
Bring me this guy, this drunk asshole.
And then there's me vouching for him, like, no, he did a lot of good work.
Don't trust the appearances.
Simon?
Similarly to this, we used to have a tradition, me and my friends. We don't anymore because we got older and birthday parties are expensive and tiresome. And if you throw a party on Saturday, going to work on Monday sucks.
Yeah.
So, and I mean like ravers, so ragers, not ravers. So for which one was it? 22nd, 23rd birthday, we ran that huge party and we had an FPF game the next day. The entire team was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Ed referee Leo Gervais was reffing my game. And at the coin toss at 4 p.m. because that was back when spring had afternoon games on Saturdays. Was it Saturday?
Terrible.
We had afternoon games.
Leave your house at 2 p.m. Thanks,
for
Rob.
a game in Lachine, I remember. Lachine Catalonia indoors. I
Oh, I
walked in
remember
with
this.
sunglasses. Leo was Ed referee. I kept the sunglasses for captain's meeting. He looked at me, he's like, "What's up?"
It's an audio medium. Simon's shaking his head.
Shaking my head, no answer. Okay. I won the coin toss because the other guy lost it. What do you want?
No
No
answer.
answer.
You're
I
gonna
just
vomit if you said
I
it.
walked away. Yeah, and we actually won that game somehow. Those were fun times. But yeah, Leo still remembers that story. He told me a few times.
Eeks.
My favorite story repeated itself for about 10 years. I went to school, and I actually was the youngest person in my class because I kind of like not skipped a year, but you know when like you're born September to December, and so you start the year you technically shouldn't be in. So I was in a class.
You're the younger version or the older version?
I was the younger.
I was
one.
also that. By the
I was
way.
the older guy.
Yeah.
I was
That
the
makes a lot
younger
of
guy.
sense.
So there was an older guy in my class who was born the exact same day as me.
Okay.
And so every year, grade 1 to 6, and then high school, sec 1 to 5, he's in my class. Happy birthday to you. And it always gets to the name, and they always said his name, finished, and then, oh yeah, happy birthday, Alex.
Oh.
Every year.
Wow, that's kind of crushing.
What was the guy's name?
Jason.
Jason?
You're a piece of
Go to
shit,
hell,
Jason.
man.
Oh, Jason is now Eagles Vendetta.
Nobody likes you.
It's not even his fault.
Does he play in FPF?
What?
Does he play in FPF?
He does not.
Let's
he-
get him so we can cut him.
Is he your new nemesis?
He always was, and always will be.
The oldest nemesis? Jason? Why? Same birthday.
That brings us to the end of the show. Simone, you final
Oh, really?
thoughts?
Already?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been an hour.
I don't know.
We're staring at the clock.
I don't know. What clock? Oh, it's there.
Final
but-
thoughts.
I don't know, man. I felt like this went by fast.
I'm an interesting guy. I'm easy to talk to.
I guess.
You should date me one time.
Should we be doing picks of the week?
Well, I do them in the article. So I guess what I can do next week is I'll bring the games and you guys pick them. Because
Good.
it's pointless for me to pick in two locations.
People like picks.
Yeah.
Because then they can shove it in our face when we're wrong. But ignore us when we're right.
Ignore us when we're right. Absolutely.
And if you want to go ahead and join us, feel free to comment on the Facebook Live or like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube. Spotify, we're there too, but I don't think you can do anything there, so just
Listen.
appreciate it.
Listen.
And
Simo, final thoughts.
This went by fast. I'm still confused.
Eagle, final thoughts.
and if you want to be on the show, feel free to reach out to either Simon, myself, or Peeze, and we'll get you in on an interview.
Two final thoughts as we exit the show.
That's cheating.
Well, no, but I have going for two, so I'm going to go for two. Nice. Change the segment. I'm going to go for two. My first thing is this fall season is different from last fall season. There's no longer 2 rounds of season. There's not 3 games and then 5. It's just a round robin of 8 games, and then you get reseeded into a playoff that will lead to a bowl game. So I've heard we just need to lose the first 3 games 100 times all of the field. It's not that. It's a much larger sample size. You have 8 games. My second thought is I can't believe we got to a point where the Cleveland Browns are a better run organization than the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, it's crazy, but it's true.
That being said, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Eagle. Thank you, Simone. But most importantly, thank you all for letting me be myself.
We're not really letting you. You're sort of
Forcing you, yeah.
forcing you.
Imposing
Like, we don't have a choice. You just take over.
Yeah, exactly. So one day you'll write a book called I'm Simon Dagenais, and peace of advantage.
Thank
Me too.
Thank you everybody for listening to me being myself.
Yeah.
Would be more accurate.
But that's not the song from the 1970s, so that's
Hey, should we have told them that the schedule for the playoff run is out?
no.
Didn't we post it on Facebook anyways?
We did. That's a great place to go look for it.
Because if people listen to this are usually on Facebook, so